back, Doggies fans. Hope everyone's doing well. This episode, I'm going to focus on the New South Wales Cup team, the Bulldogs reserve grade, and how they've been going probably the last month, but focus on the last two games, and also what lies ahead until the end of the regular season. Firstly, though, I just want to thank everyone, the people who have joined the Facebook group, Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs Elite Pathways, and my moderators on there, Edward and Rodney, for helping out, do a fantastic job, and also, all the parents and Joey as well, for posting up team lists, which I'm going to use a bit on this episode. Appreciate it, guys. Okay, so we're going to look at New South Wales Cup. Incidentally, at the time of recording this, Jersey Flegg just won their round 23 game against the Dragons down at Collegians in Wollongong. Well done, boys. So hopefully I'll get this up onto the YouTube sometime today. Might coincide with the New South Wales Cup game against the Dragons, played later tonight. So we'll probably know the result of that game before I get this onto the YouTube, but hopefully it won't take too long. So looking at the last month of games that the New South Wales Cup was played, we had a round 19 loss. The last time we lost to the Newtown Jets, 44-18. We were pretty scrappy in that game. Few fundamental errors and a bit of lack of concentration on the defensive line, and on the try line as well. And then after that, we had a round 20 win against Parramatta, 32-22. Actually, the first of 3 games in a row at Belmore. That game we led by a long way, and then they came back in the last 20 minutes and scored a few points. Then after that, a round 21 win against the Bears, 32-10, which we're going to look at, and the highlights will also come up. And a round 22 win against the Raiders, 22-12, also at Belmore, and that was before the main game at Belmore, which was a fantastic day, an unbelievable experience, and one that we won't forget for quite some time, I'd say. So going back 2 weeks to the Bears game in New South Wales Cup at Belmore, I thought this was an interesting game to look at, considering we had quite a number of players out in this game. It was probably our youngest New South Wales Cup side that we've had all year. Actually, I'd say 100%, that's fact. Looking at the team, Joe Ash was at fullback. Geordie Mazzoni and Jonathan Sewer, 2 Jersey Flegg players, were on the wings. Eli Clark was in the centres. Danny Gabriel in the centres, another Jersey Flegg player. Drew, by far and away the most experienced player, was at 5'8", and Joey O'Neill was the halfback. Forward pack, Jack Underhill was prop, alongside Pawasa Farmasili. Romano Cook was the hooker. Edge forwards were Kidiani Katanga and Lachlan Vale. And lock starting was Fahmy Torlala, another Jersey Flegg player. On the bench, more Flegg players. Callum Donaldson, Logan Spinks, who actually played SG ball this year. Ruben Moyle, another one who's come up from Flegg, who's had a few games in New South Wales Cup now. And another experienced player, Lebanese international Joshua Marie, who's played some Ron Massey Cup. Been a real linchpin in the Ron Massey Cup side and really helped a lot of the young fellas. He's a big body, and he just come up and lent a bit of experience to this team on the day. The Bears were coming first at this point in the season, and I think we were in 3rd or 4th at the time. So I won't go into too much detail in this game, but there's a few things I just want to talk about. So early on, Pawasa Farmasili was sin-binned for a high shot, and the Pups were holding the line and scrambling in defence, which was really good to see. The Bears did score first, and we made a couple of fundamental errors in that first 30 minutes. But the Dogs did hit back in emphatic fashion when fullback Joash Papali'i, on the first play retrieving a kick, threw a long cutout pass to his winger Geordie Mazzoni, and he went the best part of 90 metres, showing his speed in the clear and scored. Joash would have known what Geordie is capable of, being an ex-teammate in Jersey Flegg, winning that competition. And it was a bit of an eyes-up play, that. And we do like the NRL team, they do like to take their chances deep in their own half, and that was a perfect example of that early in the set. Hutchison then nailed a 40-20 and a couple of beautifully weighted passes, and just holding them up nicely in successive plays. The second one of which Joash Papali'i took, and then he had his second try assist and put Jonathan Sewer, the other winger, in the corner. It's just a pleasure to see the experience of Drew Hutchison combining with the youth that's around him, and getting points out of it. It's really encouraging. Centre Danny Gabriel then trailed through a Hutchison grubber kick in goal, and he got the first points of the second half. But I thought there was a key moment in this game where the Bears were attacking but knocked the ball on, and Logan Spinks, he played to the whistle by putting it the loose ball on the toe, and he chased through and regathered 40 metres downfield. It's just an all-effort play. And then on the next play, Clark was into space to score after Hutch and Joash combined. I know that play, it typifies effort that we're trying to build, and the culture that they're trying to build into this club, but also the exuberance and enthusiasm of a young player who's just played SG ball, moved up into Jersey Flegg, and now in New South Wales Cup. It's infectious. Clark was in again a bit later, after Underhill offloaded to Moyle, and Moyle swung it wide to Katanga, and he had the try assist to the centre, Eli Clark, who I thought had a really strong game, not only defensively, but he sort of ran good lines out wide and stopped and started and jinked a few times. I think his game's really developing nicely. Thought this was one hell of a performance, for a team that was sort of put together, a mixture of, SG Ball, Jersey Flegg, New South Wales Cup, and even a Run Massey Cup player thrown in. And he did a great job as well. Josh Murray, a big body, just taking carries forward, copping the hits and taking the tackles, and allowing the likes of Joash and Drew and Joey O'Neill, who played well as well. And this was a team they were playing that was coming first. So a big result, such a big result for this side, and a lot of confidence. They might not be end up playing New South Wales Cup every week for the rest of this year, but on a personal level, it's going to do them a world of good going forward. To me, this is the perfect example of why we brought Drew Hutchison to the club. He wouldn't have been told that he's going to play NRL every week when we bought him. But there was a plan there in place, because we've got so, highly rated youngsters, and they come in and play New South Wales Cup. They're going to need someone there to show them, how to play that level and to lead the way. And he's doing that. He's really doing that. And he's not a player that's going to kick stones and because he's being dropped. He's a team player, and his communication is fantastic. So that's great for the young kids. You can see they all just fall into place around him, and they know their role, and he's giving them confidence to do their thing. And then, as an example, he puts up a kick, and it lands 2 to 5 metres out from a try line. Perfect kick. And the chasers are there. The young outside backs that we've got, they nail him and put him in goal. So they see what is, the reward for a play that's executed perfectly from the halfback who's been around for a while. So they know that if they do that in New South Wales Cup, the same that they do it in Jersey Flegg, that's the result that they're going to get. And it just gives them so much confidence. There should be a screenshot coming up of a spreadsheet that I put together that has the player appearances in each grade, and I don't know if you can see it too clearly, but on the left, it has the New South Wales Cup players that aren't top 30 players and their appearances, who's played in New South Wales Cup this year. There's been a couple of departures there, Rajab, Biondi-Odo, Harrison Edwards, and there's some supplement players on there as well, like Joey O'Neill, Bailey Haywood, Powasa. Lipboy Hopboy's played NRL, Harry Hayes has played NRL. But then around them players, you can see like the 18 to 21 year old kids that have been given a taste of New South Wales Cup. Players such as Afualo, Suat Mazzoni, Danny Gabriel, Cassius Tia, Ruben Moyle, Luke Smith before he got injured, Logan Spinks, Damon Marshall, Fami Tuololo, Jack Underhill, Elijah Matali, AJ Jones, Callum Donaldson, and Larry Mulgatudia, who I think he was an 18th man. But the gist is of it is that these players, we're seeing what they're capable of in New South Wales Cup, so it's kind of a measure of where they're at as well, and if they can spend a bit more time in New South Wales Cup, or they just use that experience to then go back to, say, Jersey Flegg and continue their development there, and occasionally give them a taste in New South Wales Cup. But it provides us an indication of whether we can fast track them into New South Wales Cup, or they need a little bit more time to develop through Jersey Flegg or Run Massey Cup. And even some of these players will go back and play SG ball when the season starts again next year. I guess the key thing in all of this is the communication from the coaches to the players. And the players need to trust in the process of what the coaches are trying to do in order to turn them into future NRL players. There'll be some players that are the same age, but they might have slightly different pathways, going from one grade to another. But you need to trust in the coaching staff and what they're trying to do. So let's look at the round 22 game. The Dogs played against the Raiders before the NRL game at Belmore last week. So looking at the team, they had a few more experienced players back, a few older kids. Hayes Perrin was back. Jordan Samrani was back. Eli Clark was on the wing. Still Drew and Joey O'Neill in the halves. Hooker, Jake Turpin returned. Liam Knight as well started at lock. And on the bench, Cook. Saluka Fafita played his first game for the Bulldogs. And Patolo returned as well after I thought it was going to be a season-ending injury, but obviously it wasn't as bad as first thought. And Logan Spinks retained his spot on the bench. Joshua Murray was 18th man. So we were third and the Raiders were second. Actually, I didn't get to see the first half of the game at the ground. I did go to Belmore and, as I said before, it was a great day. But I knew that I was going to watch this game on New South Wales Rugby League TV much more closely, and I just wanted to enjoy being on the hill and talking to some fans, and met up with Joey, and it was good to have a chat with him. And so, I didn't really take much notice of the game itself live, but watching it back, they had an energetic start. They were penalised early for being a little bit too eager in defence. There was an early tackle shift wide where Perham was in the clear, and the following play after a penalty, Perham put in Sewer in the corner with nice quick hands. Clark, he nailed the conversion from touch, and it was 6-0. Papali'i was returning his kicks aggressively in true fashion. Turpin was leading the defensive line, and Hutchison was guiding the team around nicely. The Raiders, though, through plenty of second phase play, eventually scored, finding a gap as Katanga came rushing out of the line, and it was 6-6 after 20 minutes. The Dogs started having some success on the right side. with Papali, Samrani and Clark making yards, and we almost scored when Katanga grubbed into the in goal. But Hutchison, minutes later, went right with a dummy, and he found his way to the line. And Saluka Fafita and Patolo had just come on, and it was 10-6. The Dogs were up after 30 minutes. The last 10 minutes of the first half was a mixture of hard post-contact charges from the likes of Saluka Fafita and sweeping trademark ball movement. In each case, we were finishing our sets deep into opposition territory with Hutchison kicks as Belmore was really starting to fill up on the hill. The Raiders started the second half stronger, scoring after 4 minutes when Wolford found Martin and put him under the post, and the Dogs were misreading that in the defensive line. The Dogs did hit back though after 52 minutes. Cook out of dummy half found Hutchison, who stepped inside, looked for a one-handed offload, but eventually passed inside to Vale, who scored a great try assist by the halfback, and we were back in the lead after Clark converted, and it was 16-12. The Dogs started to up the ante in defence, repelling a couple of sets on the line, but also deep in Raiders territory with the Raiders trying to come out of yardage. It was good teamwork, particularly Knight, Underhill and Hutchison, Katanga as well. Hutchison then scored his second when combining with O'Neill, as Hutchison's trademark running at the line broke through the defence and Clark converted, and it was 22-12 with 11 minutes left. Samrani threatened to break the line several times, but eventually had to come off with 5 minutes left. Hopefully it's not too bad of an injury. We played field position to end the game with some desperate online defence. It ended 22-12, a very solid win at home in front of the Belmore crowd. We worked hard defensively, communication was high, and the kicking game was sensational, I thought, from both Hutchison and O'Neill. And I can't go past Drew Hutchison. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in this game. He was good the week before as well, but when he was leading the younger fellas around. But I thought in this game he really went up another level, and he was just in everything. Some of his one-on-one reads and defence as well. Puts his body on the line. He's a really handy player to have in our New South Wales Cup team. He was fantastic, I thought. So looking ahead, we're currently in third. It's very close between second and sixth. I think there's only like 2 to 4 points between them, and there's only 4 games left in this competition. It finishes a week before the NRL. So we've got the Dragons tonight at Netstrata before the main game. It looks like we won't have Drew Hutchison in that team. He may end up playing, but he's still on the NRL bench. I've got a feeling he might be 18th man for NRL this week. Looking at the rest of the New South Wales Cup team, they've got Gerald Skelton and Blake Wilson, so they'll be getting valuable minutes. They both haven't been playing a hell of a lot over the last couple of weeks. Clark and Samrani is there, so Samrani, hopefully he recovered from that injury last week, late in the game. Perham is at 5'8". Obviously, he's there for Hutch. O'Neill, halfback. The pack is not too dissimilar to last week. I think it's pretty much the same, except for maybe Cook is in for Turpin. I'm not sure why Turpin's not there. He might be injured. I think the rest of the pack's the same. And then on the bench, Peniani, Taganatamua. Patolo's there again. Katanga, he's actually not starting. He's gone to the bench. And Toilala is starting for him, so that's interesting, him being on the edge. I don't mind that, because I see Katanga more as a middle forward, playing in less minutes, bringing a bit of impact off the bench through the middle, I think is a good move. Hopefully that's the way he's used. And Saluka Fafita getting his second game. Be interesting to see how he goes. He was very good last week at Belmore, very destructive. A lot of post-contact meters in little time. So, looking at the other games that they've got for the rest of the year, so there's only 2 points separating. Look at the ladder. It should come up between second and sixth. It's very tight, this competition. The top half anyway, and then it sort of falls away. So there's only 4 games left. They finish a week before the NRL regular season does. Obviously to get that game against the Queensland winners at the end on grand final day. But we've got obviously the Dragons tonight, like I said, and then we've got the Roosters the following week at Wentworth Park. They're currently 11th, so they're struggling. We should win that. Then we've got the Warriors over there, and they're coming 5th, so that's a tough one before the NRL game as well. And then we'll finish off with Manly Seagulls, who are 9th, and that's at Belmore. We should win that. So two tough ones, 2 relatively tough ones, and 2 pretty easy ones, you'd say. I think if we won the 2 games we're expected to win, we'll probably finish in the finals. Anything more than that, I think we'll probably finish between maybe 2nd and 3rd. So yeah, looking very interesting, the end to the New South Wales Cup season, but we're in a good position and we'll have players coming back. And that's another thing also, is because the NRL team, well, it looks like they're going to be playing finals, it means that players who miss out on NRL selection can fall back and play in New South Wales Cup finals, even though they might not have played the minimum amount of games that qualifies you to play New South Wales Cup finals, because they miss out on a spot in the NRL team. So that's going to be handy if we have players coming back, such as Max King and Jamin Salmon, and they go back into the NRL team. Some of those players that might miss out on selection will come back and really strengthen this team up. So things are looking good. Hopefully we don't get any more further injuries, and good luck to the boys tonight. Just to add this little bit at the end, the New South Wales Cup team did go down tonight, 30-6 to the Dragons, and that drops us down to 4th on the ladder. So that leaves 3 games left, and I'd say we'd probably have to win 2 of those 3 games to make the finals. So it could be tight to finish it off, and we've got the Roosters next week. Drew Hutchison, he didn't play in that team. He sat on the NRL bench as 18th man, as I thought would happen. I wouldn't say it's entirely the reason why we lost, but it just goes to show how important he is to that team. Anyway, but it was a great win in the NRL, 28-10. Another really good win at Cogra over the arch rivals, and I guess that gives us bragging rights at work on Monday, so give it to them, guys. Enjoy your Sunday, Dogs fans, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
On top, and I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me. I'm Raps MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me. Leader to love it, the underdogs on top, and I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me. I'm Raps MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.